Van life. Living in a van. Have you done it? Because I have. Hello, my name is Oliver and welcome to episode 76 of the 100-day upload series, where I'm uploading every single day for the first 100 days of 2026. So, I used to live in a van. I've lived in a van and a caravan, funnily enough. Now, my van I used to live in was a 2003 Renault Kangoo, a 1.5 TDI, DCI. And to be honest, I absolutely loved the van. It was a great vehicle and it drove forever. Seriously, the miles per gallon on it were absolutely amazing. But this video is about what was van life like for me, because I did live in a van for over a year. And yeah, I ended up selling my van because it broke down. But what was it like? So I initially bought the van after I left the storage unit. I lived in the storage unit, I worked full time and I saved up money and I bought the van. I remember sleeping in the van through snow when I had no insulation on the walls and it was absolutely horrible. I tried building out the van myself and failed. It was absolutely horrible. My dad then built a bed in it for me, which was awesome. And then I decided to scrap it and tried to get a double bed put in it. And I ended up living in a tip. No, seriously, right? It was full of crap. It was full of just wood and rubbish and insulation rolls. Like, the van was just absolutely chock-a-block. I tried my best with it. That's the truth. But I still lived in it for a year. Just over a year. And to be honest with you, regardless of the state it was in, I had the freedom, and this is what everything gets advertised about van life, is the freedom. Now you can go and watch all these pretend van life gurus who say van life is amazing and all this and that. But the truth is, it absolutely sucked. Now, I don't care if I had all the amenities and a kettle and everything, and it was something that Liam the Terrible built out, right? He is an amazing bloke. He built out the best vans ever. He is unbelievably, I'm so glad to know him as a person. He's a great guy, and he's got an amazing business, Coalition Vans. And if you are looking at getting your van built out, seriously, just go check him out. But even if I was living in one of the builds that he built out, my situation would have still been the same, is what I'm trying to say. And my situation was, it was lonely. Now, I see this a lot spoken about on the Van Life Facebook pages, but it was absolutely true. It was so lonely. I spent days sometimes in the van without leaving. I had a toilet on board, I had bottles of water, I built a sink in a cabinet I'd found in a skip, and I'd put a plastic bowl in it and everything. So I had what I needed, and I had a cool box, a 12-volt cool box that I got, and I used that for a fridge, and I had a solar panel, and I sorted out having an inverter and everything, so I had electricity, I had all the amenities in there. But to be honest with you, it was so lonely. I used to park in church car parks, I parked on the side of the road, I travelled all over the country, I once took up a job in the Peak District. They told me it was going to be a full-time job and they lied. They just wanted me for the festival. So I dealt with that. My van got attempted to be broken into then, which I have a video on. Another time, when I was actually parked only 2 roads away from my mother's house at the time, I forgot to lock the van door, and I woke up at 7 in the morning to a guy opening my van door, and he was having a go at me, asked me what I was doing here. And he was like, I'm from Yorkshire, I've lived here 20 years, and that accent is not from around here. And I was like, excuse me, what are you on about? I was like, my mother lives a few roads away, I have no idea what you're on about. I was raised in this area, I have no idea what you're on about. So I dealt with my issues completely. But it was lonely. It was so lonely. I didn't like it. I would do it for weekend warriors. I would happily own a van conversion again, and a camper van, and I'd use it frequently, absolutely. But it was so lonely. It was. I felt sad a lot of the time. I did a lot of travelling, which was great. I drove to Cornwall for a Cornish pasty. I'd snuck into hotels all over the country. I had to do a speed awareness course in Nottingham. I think I told the videos as a meeting, but I had a speed awareness course in Nottingham. So I drove up the country and I made some videos along the way, and I stopped off along the way. I went to see my sibling who was at a disability college. over in the West Country. I'd done so many things, and it was great. I loved it. I loved the travel. It was amazing, but it was so lonely. I felt isolated. And to be honest with you, my current situation isn't much different. I feel very isolated here. I'm grateful for a flat. I'm grateful to have my son, but I feel just as isolated here as I did in a van. Now, that's just down to mentality. It's mental health, it's depression, it's how I felt as and when at the time, but I was going through a lot of the time. Forget the fact that it wasn't completely sorted out in the van. You see this stuff online where people say it's this amazing thing, and it's an amazing experience. I didn't find that. Like, I will tell anyone to join Vanlife. I support the Vanlife community. I love Vanlifers. I know loads of Vanlifers to this day, and I think it's an amazing thing to be a part of, but I wouldn't do it full time. Not again. I've debated it. Trust me, I have, because, giving up my flat, not having to pay rent, living it with my son. It's just not what it's cracked up to be. It's not. You were living in a box, and I parked everywhere. I'd parked on the A23, I'd parked on whatever A roads elsewhere, B roads, church car parks, slept in them, woke up to the van shaking from lorries or people banging on the door, slept in Tesco's car park in the van a few times, that sort of thing. I did it all. I had the full proper van life experience, except I didn't do the stereotypical drive to Africa, which a lot of van lifers do. I just did it in the UK, and I felt like I was escaping most of the time. Don't get me wrong, I'm very glad to have seen the country. I've seen so much of the UK. I've done a lot of travelling in the UK. I have been everywhere except the northeast, funnily enough. I've done almost every single city in the UK as well. But I was just so lonely. I just felt isolated, because when you're in the van, it's the freedom, so you're expected to travel. So I did. But then I'm travelling alone. I did a lot of nighttime driving because I was alone. It was just empty. It wasn't what they advertised, and by they I just mean the people on YouTube. I think I could have done it better, but people who are living in the van aren't there to do it better. They're there to have the freedom. That's the whole point of it. Again, I said I'd do it part-time, happily. If I knew it was going to be like 6 months, a year max, yeah, I'd do it, sure. If I was like building a house or something, it had to be like fixated in an area, because I think that was the issue with the van life. We always talk about like a van life community, and there is a van life community. It's great. I've met so many van lifers out there. Absolutely amazing. And I love every single one of them. They're great people. Absolutely. But when you're on the road, the van life community is not there. Most of the time when you park up, you might see the odd couple of vans. Doesn't mean you're going to talk to them. Again, I spent most of the time alone. And if I had to do it again, if I did do it again, as I've said, I would want to be, like, if it wasn't for travel, so like I'd probably get one to like go around Europe. I think that would be cool. But if I had to do it like in England, because of my child, I'd want to like fixate on an area, know the community, be around a community, that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't do it, not the way I did it, and not the way lots of people do it. It is what it is. It's not what it's cracked up to be. I love the off-grid lifestyle. It's my favourite thing. And there's so many pros. There's loads of pros of doing van life. Tons. The con is loneliness, because even if right now where I am I don't have any friends in my area, just when I go out I can bump into the neighbours and I'll stand there for 10 minutes and have a chat. You don't get that in a van. When you wake up in the morning on some hill outside Bath and you get out of the van and the sun's like, I've been there. I'm sure if you've come across this video and you are a van lifer, you might feel the same. You might be fixated to one area, and that might be completely fine for you. You might love being by yourself, and a lot of people who do van life, surprisingly, are introverts. I'm not an introvert, I'm an extrovert. I used to think I was an introvert, I'm certainly not an introvert. I love being an extrovert, and I need social interaction, communication every single day. And not having it sucks. Absolutely sucks. That was the worst bit about van life, the mental health, the depression, the loneliness. Everything else, brilliant. Yeah, if there was like a field where all the van lifers were together, and you were generally like, everyone was really nice and it was great, and you still went off and you worked, so you left your van. Oh, that's another thing, right? You're driving your house about. Like, van life's great, but one issue I had was driving my house about. I didn't have another vehicle, so this is all I had. And I think that was a big issue. You know, I would have loved it if I could, like, say it was towing a Nissan Micra or something, I could just park it up and have something else to go around in. That's the sort of thing that's great. I have no issues with that. But the fact that you're just, you know, when people go to work, right, they wake up, get ready, maybe have a shower, go to work, come home, right? That's a stereotypical day. In a van, it's you wake up, you're in your van, you drive your van to a shop or a swimming pool or whatever you're doing, you get back in your van. If you're going to work, you might drive to work, and after work, you're back in your van. There's no separation. There's no separation. And you're just stuck with the van. And then when the van breaks down, because mine did break down. It broke down a few times, and it sucked. It did. It absolutely sucked when it broke down. I get it. Oh, that's the part of van life. Yeah, I get it. But when it breaks down and it's literally where you live, oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Especially when you break down on a dual carriageway. I broke down on the A23, funnily enough, and that was dreadful. And I had to, on a busy 3-laner, I had to like push it to the side. It was horrible. And then I was stuck there for, I think, 8 hours, 6-8 hours on the side of the road. I ended up walking 3 miles to a fuel station, filling up a fuel can, walking 3 miles back, putting the fuel in only to discover that I'd killed the battery on top. It wasn't just I ran out of fuel, I killed the battery, and then I had to like pump the lines and everything, you know, on a 70-mile-an-hour road. In winter, by the way, in winter. So I wouldn't recommend it for those reasons. But van life's great. Again, if you're like in one area or you've got a piece of land or somewhere to park and it's like that, then yeah, sure, go for it. Awesome. Sounds great. Seriously, I'd do that. If there was a driveway and I was living in a driveway, yeah, absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. But for the way that it was for me, with the freedom, by yourself, lonely, by yourself, I didn't want that. I couldn't deal with it. I struggled a lot. So yeah, that's my take on van life. What's yours? Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please make sure to click the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification, and comment down below if you're in van life. What do you think of van life? Would you ever do van life if you're not in van life? Or have you had some sort of experience with it? Till next time, guys. Adios, mis amigos, and goodbye.